Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun.
In this week's episode, Sergeant Alvin York.
Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the
But the Medal of Honor winning Sergeant Alvin York, the greatest American hero of World War I, his life, legend, and legacy. Heralded as the greatest civilian soldier of the war, and accomplishing the greatest thing by any private soldier of all of Europe, Medal of Honor recipient Alvin York was known as the greatest American hero of World War I. York's life caught fire in the American imagination, not because of who he was, but because of what he symbolized. He typified the 19th century American hero, larger-than-life figure, often compared to other American heroes like Daniel Boone, Davy Crockett, and Abraham Lincoln. York was a humble patriot who slowly moved to action only when provoked, and then refused to capitalize on his fame. When all of these traits come together, Sergeant Alvin York truly was a hero. On December 13, 1887, in Pall Mall, Tennessee, in a small log cabin as the third of 11 children, Alvin York and his family began his life living off of subsistence farming, supplemented by hunting, which resulted in York becoming a competent marksman at early age. With little education and a poor skilled labor job, York became reckless. It wasn't until 1914 that he experienced a religious conversion at the Church of Christ and Christian Union that turned his life around. On June 5, 1917, York received his draft notice. However, since his church didn't allow war, he filed objector status. Unfortunately for Alvin York, the United States denied his claim because his church was not recognized as a legitimate sect. Arriving at Camp Gordon for basic training, York was assigned to Battle Group Company G, 328th Infantry, 82nd All-American Division. However, an odd predicament developed. York was an excellent marksman, but did not like the idea of war. It took weeks of debate and counseling, but he soon believed at times war was moral and agreed to fight. With his 1903 Springfield rifle, York was able to hit targets at any yardage at any given position. On June 27, 1918, York arrived as the Germans were driving towards Chateau Thierry and Belleau Wood. On September 18th, he participated in reducing the St. Mihiel salient by serving on the front lines. Next, York traveled into the Meuse-Argonne region and waited for attack orders against the well-fortified parts of the Hindenburg Line. On September 26, 1918, York participated in the first phase of the Meuse-Argonne offensive, which was stalled due to bluffs, hills, machine guns, and well-placed artillery. On October 4, 1918, the second phase of the offensive began on the eastern edge of the Argonne. On October 8, close to Châtel Chehery, a village in the midst of heavy German defense system, York had orders to take the two hills dominating the American advance. However, it got light outside and the Germans sent over a heavy barrage of artillery and gas. York was able to press through the barrage and capture the first hill. Yet again, he encountered heavy machine gun fire and was unable to capture the second hill. This resulted in many of his friends starting to get picked off very quickly. So, he and 16 others were ordered to go around on the left flank to put the guns out of action. En route, they found a slightly superior German force and forced them to surrender. Yet again, because they were near an entire flank of a German machine gun battalion, York and his men were fired on from all sides, killing 9 out of the 17 American soldiers there. York, now in control of a handful of American men, as well as a group of German prisoners, crawled to a hiding spot while under heavy fire. Using 17 shots from his Springfield 1903, York was able to kill 17 German soldiers. Starting from the back, York was able to hit every machine gun. This resulted in much German confusion. A German lieutenant found York, and he, along with 7 men, charged York alone, who picked them off with his pistol because they ran in a column. All of this confusion and chaos on the German side led the German commanding officer to believe that he was fighting against a larger, superior force. Therefore, the German commander surrendered roughly up to 90 of his German soldiers. When York returned back to battalion headquarters, he had a grand total of 132 prisoners. It was later proved that York had caused 25 Germans to die, 35 machine guns to be abandoned, and 132 prisoners to be captured. A truly amazing feat for a single man. This earned Corporal York the promotion to sergeant, as well as the Congressional Medal of Honor, along with France's Medaille Militaire and Croix de Guerre, and finally Italy's Croce di Guerra. The latter two mean War Cross. Thanks to Alvin York, many soldiers under his command lived. York's extraordinary actions quickly spread throughout all American lives. As stories began to grow about him, he became an American hero who daringly risked his life to save his men and showed the strongest army in the world American might. During World War II, the United States government capitalized on this fame and convinced him to create a movie about his heroic feats as well as his contributions to the Third Liberty Loan.